fair dinkum cut him in half.
Mark Twain once said that history never repeats itself, but it does often rhyme. So here we are, in round 12 of the 2023 NRL season, and the Kiwis are once again complaining about the referees. Same old story.
Here is Tedesco. Curran wrestles away from Cullen, and then he stone cold drops it. He dropped it. Let's have a look at this one first. Now, how is that not a drop ball? That's touched the grass.
That is 100% a drop ball.
Is there bias against the Warriors? Or perhaps it's a case of the beta one-off phenomenon, where once you've seen one bad call, you start to see them everywhere. After all, many clubs seem to receive their fair share of bad officiating.
Nothing went our way. Nothing went our way. It's very hard to come down here to Canberra, and when you get a 10-3 penalty count against you, 10-3, we can't be the best in the competition with our discipline and then get penalised 10 times tonight. We can't be told that we've got great compliance by the referees and then we get penalised 10 times. Can't happen. Like, I'll never say anything about the refereeing, but I think tonight we were hard done by.
That brings us to Ivan Cleary. Cleary, the current coach of back-to-back premiers, the Penrith Panthers, offered his own theory, making these comments in an article from the New Zealand Herald back in 2010. It may as well have been yesterday. This from Steve Dean. It's official. Either the Warriors are the biggest cheats in the NRL, or, as many have long suspected, the New Zealand club continues to get a raw deal from referees. Statistics compiled by the Herald show the Warriors have been penalised 99 times, the most of any team over the 18 rounds this season. But while eagle-eyed whistlers have been quick to spot the Warriors' wrongdoings, it has been a case of see no evil when it comes to their opponents, with the club also receiving the third fewest penalties. Sunday's back-to-the-wall victory over the Panthers was the final straw for coach Ivan Cleary. He tabled an official complaint for the first time in his coaching career, after senior referee Shane Hayne timed the Warriors a level 3 in the penalty count and awarded a string of 50-50 calls in the hindsight's favour. Hayne's performance was so lopsided it even attracted criticism from multiple Australian pundits, with Phil Gould and Bob Fulton among those providing scathing assessments of the NRL's second-ranked referee. Fulton, the legendary former Australian player and coach, lambasted Hayne in his post-match comments. "Shane Hayne, hang your head in shame," Fulton said. "You have produced the worst refereeing performance in the last 20 years. Cleary's biggest complaint is the lack of penalties awarded to his side in the second half of matches that are in the balance. The penalty, when you're doing it tough, is just gold. At the game of the weekend, we couldn't get one. I find that a bit hard," Cleary said. But while many Kiwis will see lopsided refereeing as a simple case of Aussie shafting Kiwis, Cleary believes it is more down to a subconscious favouring of more prominent clubs. My theory on that is that it's just easier for referees, Cleary said. Deja vu. More talk about subconscious bias. But Cleary goes further, hitting the nail on the head. "We are the only team that is not an Australian team. The media machine is bigger over there. I heard Ryan Nelson talking about it after the Whites played Italy. If you are a referee and give a decision that is a dodgy was because Italy instead of the Horse, the ramifications far greater. If we get a bad deal in Australia and we complain, the media is going to be like, yeah, whatever. But if it happens to Manly or St. George, they can be a big hoo-ha." Cleary screws it down even further In another article from earlier in the year, he confirms the importance and the power of Jason Paris's comments. This from Steve Kilgore. Filming Warriors coach Ivan Cleary says he's willing to spend $10,000 on an NRL fine for criticising referees if it buys his team an even share of the penalty guilt. Deja vu again. No, we have all heard that before.
Yeah, I saw it, mate. Yeah, I get asked this every week. I'm going to take a hat around and get you guys to pay for my fine. If you all want to chip in, I'll give you whatever you want.
In a remarkable sign of his frustration at his side's perceived treatment by referees, Cleary believes forking up the substantial fine might prove value for money. If the subsequent media attention would a change in fortune for the Warriors. There are those words again. Media attention. Cleary believes whistlers have a subconscious bias against his team because they are a Kiwi side playing in an Australian competition, and because there's no media will support the pressure on officials when they make bad calls against his men. So here, Cleary is clearly looking for an ally, someone who can gain traction and provide clout, someone who can create a real big hoo-ha. Asked what he could do to reverse the trend, Cleary, a rarity among serving NRL coaches for never having copped a referee abuse penalty, told the Star Times, "I don't know. I've often thought about spending $10,000 and seeing if that works. I've seen a few that do it and tend to get good results. But I don't know if it works for us, because it needs to become a big media cool celebrity to get results. You've got to make sure you get all the related coverage. Maybe get on YouTube as well. That's a great idea. Join us at Feed Income League on YouTube." Cleary says lopsided second-half penalty counts have been an historic trend for the club and are a result of several factors, not least that if the club are introduced by a poor refereeing decision, little public pressure goes on the referees because the Warriors are not big news across the Tasman. And that's why Jason Paris' outburst has been so massive for the Warriors club. I think this is a bit of human nature. A New Zealand team in an Australian competition with Australian referees, everyone is susceptible to media criticism, and if a bad call, here's the, for example, if something is going against Manly, the whole world knows about it, and all of a sudden, the pressure comes on, Cleary said. That just doesn't happen for us. If we get a bad deal in Australia, and even if I say something, which I have in the past, everyone does, oh well, so it's just easier. Now, I'm not saying that cheating, but human nature says that it's just easier to give a penalty against us. That suggests the Warriors would at least enjoy some home ground advantage from playing Australian teams in New Zealand, the front of the partisan crowd. But Cleary says there's no evidence of such an effect, and he blames it on TV culture. The referee leaves, and the media isn't going to get back to Australia. And they're not going to worry in Australia if the Warriors got done it. They just aren't. And New Zealand has a culture of not wanting to be seen to complain. Small man syndrome, if you like. Not over being others, we're better than that. And the local media doesn't want to be seen to be pro-Warriors. But Paris' theme seemed to change in Kiwi culture, and when he spoke out, his words caught fire. Did Ivan Cleary's complaints to the NRL change the fortunes of the Warriors when it came to the officiating? No. 1 year later, and he was still hitting his head against the brick wall. From Joe Barton, here are the damning statistics, which back up Warriors coach Ivan Cleary's claims that his NRL side has been copping rough treatment from the referees, in addition to the recent lopsided penalty kills against his side in their finals clashes. The Warriors are yet to win a penalty killed outside of New Zealand. And preliminary final opponents Melbourne have lost just 2 at home. Yeah. After watching his team nearly get penalised out of the finals against the West Tigers, the normally calm and collected Cleary lashed out at whistleblowers Jared Maxwell and Shane Hine. Central to Cleary's concerns were the lopsided penalty kicks in the first halves and both of the Warriors' finals clashes. The Auckland-based side conceded the combined total of 7 penalties to none in the opening 40 minutes of both matches, forcing them to make an extra 94 tackles before half-time. It was 9-4 against the Tigers, and I think in a semi-final that is horrendously lopsided, Cleary said. There were definitely some calls here I think they will be disappointed with when they look back. In semi-finals, that's a big penalty count in any game, really. I think everyone knows in big games that penalties are so crucial and that you couldn't really look at hurting to do it and say that all discipline was that bad. Asked why the Warriors had lost recent penalty counts, the coach said, "It's a good question. I don't have the answer. I hope it turns around this week." This is what makes Jason Paris's allegations of cheating and bias so important. He is a big fish with big hours and big teeth. The officiating of the very next game following his comments was remarkably improved, and it was surely no coincidence. One swallow does not make a summer, but if the club can go deep into this year's competition, then they will have an unexpected Warrior to thank. And perhaps, this time, the criticism will stick. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. We thank you for your support. You little rippers.